Facebook. I'm giving up on women. It's pointless. These women out here are insane. Robert. The key to happiness is to eliminate all black women from your life. I mean, look at me. No black women in my life. Look how happy I am. I'm happy as a nigga with a new gun.
No, Ruckus. That is preposterous.
Oh, preposterous. Preposterous. Really. Ask me a question. Is you happy?
Sure am.
See? No black women in his life neither. Nigga free, and that's how he need to be.
Just because I'm married to a white woman doesn't mean there's a single thing wrong with black women.
True, but you did marry a white woman.
You have to find the woman who makes you happy, Robert.
Well, black women don't want to be happy. They squeeze out about 7 or 8 of them little nappy-headed children by the time they 21. It's all downhill from there. Look at that. Oh, that woman's body over there, that's a temple. A black woman's body is a temple of doom. When was the last time you saw a black woman jogging, Robert? Ask yourself that question. And I ain't talking about them super steroided she-males in the Olympics that tuck their testicles up either. Well, come to think of it. That's what I thought. You ain't never seen it. Because black women don't jog. That way they don't sweat out all them industrial strength toxic Avenger chemicals they use to straighten out their hair.
Sarah loves to jog.
Well, of course you do. Sally is a human being.
Okay, fellas, enough of the guy talk, jibber jabber, talky talk. Can we just start running already? Come on!
You coming? I ain't running with y'all two niggas in the park. Police might shoot me by mistake. See you on the other side, nigga!
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, starting at verse 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Verse 27, Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account. Verse 28, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory. Call halal Allah Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. To the sincere women that's, being a helpmeet to, the men of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, being true mothers to, the young men of the nation of Yasharallah. Much honor and glory. Shalom to the Confusion of Faith brethren joining onto our ranks. Shalom to all the sincere brethren out here pushing the truth with faith and sincerity and risking their lives and the freedom to do so. This is the brother y'all. What's up? Out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant coming at you with another lesson. And have no idea what I'm going to title this lesson, but just through the spirit, and I know for those, people are going to get because you got these weak ass niggas too, so, you going to have some of these feminine ass men going to get offended by it, you're going to have a lot of women get offended by it. But the thing is this, and it's easier said than done, but the thing is this, like somebody just say bitch out loud and you in the crowd. You shouldn't really get offended by that, because at the end of the day, unless it's directed to you, if this is not directed to you, you can't get offended. You get what I'm saying? So only time people get offended is if deep down they feel and they self-conscious. That's why when you call a woman a whore, she gets offended, because deep down she knows she ain't supposed to be fucking and popping all these different dudes. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, for whatever reason, Spirit drew me to do this article. What's lucky? I got a few articles, but I want to do a lesson on the women of our nation. And the thing is, this is not directed to all women once again. But you're gonna have those that's gonna get offended. But if anything, that's how you know people don't really know the scriptures, because they say how the Messiah is so much love and peace. Well, if he was so much love and peace, why the fuck did they kill him? Take the time to use your brain, and like I was using a word yesterday, and I'm sure anybody that's listening to this, because you got Edomites make stupid ass comments, oh yeah, you ain't got enough followers and all that, but it's not about numbers. I don't give a fuck. I'm prophesying to the wind, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, when the Most High brings it back to your recollection, you can't cry and say you don't know, you ain't heard, you don't know. See, that's the thing about the Most High, how just he is. He doesn't do anything without forewarning, you know what I mean? That's why it's just. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, I've been coming across a lot of different articles. Like I came across this article in the scene, and it was talking about women of our nation that actually like it's going to go into personal testimony. I'm not about to read the whole thing, but and just showing you the pride of women. And then it was a few articles I came across about just like the Venezuela thing, and the typical how they paint the picture of an Israelite woman, not just the Judite women, but all the women of our nation. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I remember when I was in welding school, and our welding instructor told me this. He told me and this other guy, and I'll never forget, and it always stuck in my head. He said the freest people in this country is the white man and he called him nigger woman, the nigger woman. And when you take the time to think about it, it's the truth. That's why you had that bitch. What's her name? Omarosa. And then at the end of the day, and to show you how we ain't really significant, she did all that taping him with all his racist slurs and all that, and yet still they brushed that. I mean, she went through some shit that would incriminate and get anybody else in trouble, but that shit is water under the bridge. They ain't paying no attention to that shit. But my point being, that wouldn't have been no black man or so-called black man or Israelite man. That was our women. And then after he shitted on her, then she want to run back to her people. Oh, he's talking about us. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why you said through the spirit, like I said, brothers was just speaking on. You can't love too much, and we love our women. It says in scripture that the glory of a man is his woman. You know what I mean? But the glory of a woman is her fucking hair. So that show you how vain a woman is. Anyhow, I'm gonna bring out some of these articles. I got a few different scriptures, and I'm not trying to make this too long, and I'm a little bit of everywhere with it. So bear with me, and Lord willing, this is an edifying video. I'm gonna go into the article real quick. So this is a depiction of the article. It says, "We Are Enough." A group of black women share their stories of living, working, and surviving in Cleveland. Now, if you see the face of these women, they all look like Judite women. I'm going to just probably read the beginning because I don't give a fuck about these women. It mentions a prominent place that's always been in the Israelite community, or you say so-called black people, blacks community, the Karamu House. It says, it seems that most coverage of black women in Cleveland is on the low end, where we're talking about the disparities, says Lauren Welch, the director of marketing and communication at the Karamu House, or its C-suite. But there really isn't quite as much knowledge about the day-to-day women who aren't C-suite, but who also aren't poor. There's no in-between. So basically, and it's going into all these different women. And like Welch is the executive director. Then you got multiple different women. Salaki, bear with me. Salaki, you had a woman named Bashara Addison, senior manager of policy and strategic initiatives at Towards Employment. That sounds like a fancy ass title. So she not getting no, she ain't on no motherfucking like no shift leader type of thing at McDonald's. And actually I'm familiar with Towards Employment. They got a prominent hand with the residents in the city trying to get them employed, and they dealing with all these different companies and innovators, and just to provide jobs and different opportunities for people in the city. But basically, like I said, I'm not going to continue to read this whole article. I was just going to name some of these people's positions. It says across the table from Latoya is Kira's, I can't pronounce her name. They Israelites too. They come up with crazy as this is Kira Shefton, director of real estate development at Fasmico Foundation. So all these women are in prominent positions. And if you see, I didn't want to do that, but I'm about to do it real quick. If you see these women's faces, all of them got big ass gigantic smiles. Now don't get me wrong, they're getting the only one that doesn't got a real smile like that is her. That bitch, she look prideful. She look like a damn demon. So my point of doing this article is at the end that, these women are in prominent positions, and more than likely they are very, very prideful. You can see based on the last example I showed with the woman, just looking at it like you couldn't tell her shit. And at the end of the day, it says in Scripture that the Most High is against pride. This is the book of Proverbs 16, starting at verse 5. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai. Though hand in hand, join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. And you see how they putting these women on a pedestal. And like I said, at the end of the day, whenever, that's with anybody in this goofy ass society, prideful. Like I said, I stay in government, I get government, I stay in a government subsidized building, put it like that. And you'll be surprised, at the end of the day, you got motherfuckers. That's how some people get through life, you know what I mean? They ain't got that much, but because they got more than you, they looked at, looked out on you so they feel better about themselves. Not realizing what's coming to everybody, you know what I mean? You would think, that's what I say, like, it's just, it ain't amazing, but it is to a certain extent, like, after that DJ Trump shutting down the government, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I say, like, and people deserve it too, because like I said, when they hit them, what's gonna be your excuse? You didn't know? Can't never be, you know what I mean? Salakia, bear with me for a second. Salakia, it says, this is Proverbs 11 and 2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. And that's a true statement, because like I said, at the end of the day, you go into the word humble. Humble means, it basically goes back to being humiliated. It's a scripted that the elders and apostles I've heard mention a few different times about how, like, when Yahushua, he had to be brought low to receive his glory. You know what I mean? Shame come before greatness. It's something roughly paraphrased like that, but that's the point. Like, you got to be brought low before you give in your glory. So at the end of the day, it says, when pride cometh, then cometh shame. Because at the end of the day, I got a perfect example of that. Bear with me. And that was Salakia. That was Proverbs 11 and 2. This is out of the Miami Herald. In Venezuela, they were teachers and doctors. To buy food, they became prostitutes. So you don't think that these women that were teachers and doctors were prideful? And look how the Most High brought them to shame. I'm going to read. I'm not going to go into the article like that. It says, all 12 women who work at this brothel in Aruca, Colombia, are from Venezuela. As Venezuela's economic crisis continues to grind on, many Venezuelan women have turned to the sex trade in neighboring Colombia to make ends meet. At a squat concrete brothel on the muddy banks of the Aruca River, Gabriel Sanchez rattled off the previous jobs of the women who now sell their bodies at his establishment for $25 an hour. We've got lots of teachers, some doctors, many professional women, and one petroleum engineer. He yelled over a din of Valento music. All of them showed up with their degrees in hand, and all of them came from Venezuela. So at the end of the day, you think he give a fuck about your past or who you once was? You know what I'm saying? And in that day, these proud-ass Americanized women from our nation and these Edomites and these heathens that stuck over here, they gonna be, you ever seen like Mad Max and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and every woman ain't gonna be like the Black Mamba or what was that woman that was from Colombia, the Black Widow, you know what I mean? Every woman ain't cut like that, you know what I'm saying? And that just show you the dangers of a woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was an ill bitch, but I'm not trying to digress. At the end of the day, I'm just bringing out some articles. Bear with me for a second. So at the end of the day, like I said, and this Edomite, this red Hebrew Edomite, is the one that actually poisoned these women's minds. That's why, like I said, I read that. I spoke on the statement with the elder Akim, or the elder apostle, spoke on about how, Salakia. I'm tripping my mind a little bit everywhere. I told you I learned that from my welding teacher, but I've heard other people speak on it as far as the freest people. Because I did a video about, like, when you go into, like, even back when we was in our slavery days, because off of something that Elder Malcolm mentioned, and you come to find out, like I said, back in the day, you had, resorts where the slave master was taking the slave woman. It's actually a case, like I said, with Thomas Jefferson. As racist as he was, as much as he hated niggas, he had children with a Judite woman. You get what I'm saying? I forgot her name. I did it. I mean, I mentioned it in the article. You know how you constantly bringing out this information, and like I said, and unless you got a great memory, like my memory ain't as great as it used to be. So, but my point being, they've been joined hand in hand, and I read that. You know what I mean? I read that, I believe, in Proverbs 16:5. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, it was this Edomite, this serpent, this red Hebrew Edomite that put this in their mind, and that's why you got these women. It was all systematic plan. Basically, it was the will of the Most High. But at the same time, when you go back, like the one brother from DTA, he mentioned that one movie. I can't think of the damn name of it, but it had James Earl Jones and the one female, and it's supposed to be like a comedy drama. And I can't think of the name of it. It's like from the 70s, and basically it showed you how, like, with the Section 8 thing, the man couldn't be in the household and all that, and that put in a woman's mind that her independence, because most women rely on a man. Even to the point where they think, well, I got my own money and your money is my money. But at the same time, when Esau came with the whole, well, we gonna supply your needs, your man can. If that's why our children are so fucked up now, they don't have stable households, and that's why our women are the way they is. But it was actually systematic, and it was actually brilliant. Like, Esau is a true devil, but like I said, it's gonna blow up in our women face too, because in that day of trouble, they're gonna be seeking out a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, brother kept on bringing up that one scripture where it said, instead of a sweet smell, it's gonna be stink. You ever been around a female that, and then to show you how prideful a bitch is, I've been homeless. You got a woman, some of the women was nasty as fuck, and you walking around smelling like shit, or smelling like, a dead fucking whale or something, and yet you still proud, talking about what these people ought to give you, and like, man, woo. But that was all because of Esau, because he's subtle, he's subtile rather. This is the book of 2 Corinthians 11:3. But I fear least by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, and that's the spirit, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Mashiach. And simplicity is this. And this is the simplicity of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, or Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach. And the head, I'm going to read it verbatim. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ. And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Christ is Yahweh. So it's an order. And like I say, and you got women that don't want to be in the order. You got men that don't want to be in the order. But that's why everything is so much out of whack. You know what I mean? You got everybody thinking. And that's simple, though. You know what I mean? Like, when you take time to think about it. A woman will want their children to listen to them. They supposed to be the head of the children, which is true. But then, yet still, you don't want to be in obedience or in order to the man. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Some men ain't real men, because, this is purposely set up. You know what I mean? That's why this truth do grow you up. You know what I mean? It's getting to the point now, I go through so much shit, you know what I'm saying? But nobody gives a fuck. I was listening to the brother from Men of Valor say that. He say, ain't no point of crying about it. Nobody give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, I'm going to just start biting my tongue on certain shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, nobody going to relate to it. Like I said, you got people that's so lost in motherfucking translation, they'll fake like they happy when they know they fucking, miserable for real. Like, who want to work 85 hours the fucking week? You know what I mean? Like, you got people got 3 jobs, but you faking like you happy as fuck. Anyhow, that's simple. You know what I mean? It's an order to everything. But like I said, that serpent beguiled Eve, having her believe it. I'm about to show you something. It's another article I want to read. Bear with me. Because it's going into why I came out with that Ecclesiastes 7:28. It said, out of one man out of 1,000 he met that was righteous, and out of 1,000 women he met none. You remember, Solomon had 1,000 women, like 700 concubines and like 300 wives. You know what I'm saying? He said not one of them bitches was righteous. Not one. Okay, this is an Ebony article. I don't know the date. It says, confession. I'm sleeping my way to the top. You see who that is? Portrayed. Now, I'm not gonna read this entire article, but this woman is actually like, and she basically, so not only is she hand in hand with the devil, because first of all, they ain't gonna let they women be out here sucking and fucking, and you know what I mean, like to get to and show you how like they would try to keep their women at home, but like I said, to show you how cold the Most High is, the same shit they came up to fuck our people up is backfiring on them. You know, like basically a lot of they women in the workforce too. I mean, like they got the lowest, like the baby boomer generation is pretty much over, and a lot of these new millennials, they not, you know, they more focused on careers as opposed to having a family. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit cold. How the Most High got it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it don't really mention her name, but it says, when I was younger, my grandmother would have a game night at our house with her girlfriends. Listen to this shit now. This is a Israelite woman talking about her grandma. And my demon said something similar, you know what I'm saying? You know, she said, I remember sneaking to listen in on their conversations and soak up all the juicy stories. I barely remember some of the things I heard back then, but one thing I heard has always stuck with me and has proven to be the best advice. She said, it's the best advice I have ever received. That sage piece of advice. Closed legs don't get fed. So her grandmother was actually talking about fucking to get what you need. When the recession started and layoffs hit my company, losing my job sent my life into a tailspin. All I did was job hunt and pray that things would get better. Boy, did they ever. After months of searching and eating P&J for every meal, I found my dream job at a company I had been dying to work for. The position wasn't high up and the pay was nothing extravagant, but I had a job that I loved and I was grateful. My first week in the office was uneventful and typical. That is until I spotted this Adonis a few feet away. She using a Greek name, Adonis. Are people fucked up? The color of caramel with a gun shoulder and a broad back that made it necessary for you to carry extra panties in your purse. Hold on. Bear with me for a second. This is the point I want to get at. Now, she going into, I guess, the guy name. His name was Casey. It said, but after our kiss, I noticed that Casey was putting me on big okay, boom. I'm going to go back to, it says, figures I would have had hots for a man that signs checks, including mine. I was all set to admire from afar until Casey began subtly flirting with me. Light touches on the hand and lower back invites to lunch and meetings in this office where we just poked around. Then one day, like a scene out of a cheesy romantic comedy, he pulled me in his office, pushed me against the wall, and kissed me. It was so disappointing. Oh, this shit kind of pissing me off because at the end of the day, like, you got some bitch probably listening to this shit like, oh, that's steamy and hot and all that. Like, man, what the fuck? That one woman, she probably had a dude and left a dude because this dude, man, because women like power. So he not only she fucking the dude that's signing the check. I mean, no matter how the power comes, if it wasn't no money, but this dude whooping everybody ass, a woman gonna be attracted to that. If this dude got all the fucking money, you know what I'm saying, and get your ass whooped with the snap of a finger, she attracted to that. Women respect, fear, and love power. I thought there would be sparks, passion, and stars. Instead, I felt blah and ready for it to be over. But after I kissed, I noticed that Casey was putting me on big projects. You hear this bitch? She said. She said it was fun at first, but then he didn't bring the spark for her. So, you know, she said I felt a blah and ready for it to be over with. But after our first kiss, I noticed that Casey was putting me on big projects, allowing me to leave early and such. So she took advantage of the situation. I want to see if it was more than one guy though. She said, but at the end of the day, I go to the bed peaceful. Hold on. Let me see. To be honest, Casey's a great guy who's fun to be around. I do care about him. Do I see us getting married or anything? No. It's not even a topic we've discussed nearly 2 years later. Right now, I think we're just two people giving each other what they need. For him, it's steady sex with a beautiful woman and a chance to flex his ego and boss status. For me, it's a way to further my career. And have a little fun along the way. I know. Now, people probably be like, this nigga. But look, so basically, what is she saying? She's fucking him. I mean, you might as well say you're a prostitute. Because this is to advance you in your career. Now, if I was to ever meet this woman based on, this is her words, this is her fucking story. As told to, yeah, that's the, see, but they don't never, it doesn't lead the person's name. If I was to meet this woman and call her a whore, she'd get offended, but you just, I got a scripture, bear with me for a second. This place sucks. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. So, you go into that word whore, it's a Hebrew word 6948, Kedashah, feminine, a female prostitute, harlot, whore. And then it says, or a sodomite. So when you go into that word, it's H6945, a male prostitute, a sodomite, unclean. And if you don't know what the word sodomite is, you should go do some studying. Verse 18, thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore. Now, he mentioned in verse 17, then he goes in verse 18, or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy power for any vow, for even both these are abomination unto the Lord thy power. So the point was in verse 17, there should be no whore of the daughters of Israel. That woman, and obviously it's coming out the magazine Ebony. I was watching that one white guy, I can't think of his damn name. He played in Think Like a Man. But we used to say that we think that he might be a Jake, just because of his spirit. I can't think of dude's name right now, but he played in Think Like a Man. You know what I mean? He always kicking it with Jakes. You know what I mean? He married to an Israelite woman, and Ebony doesn't let anybody that's not so-called black pose on their magazines. I found that out, and then I had to think about it, because he said it. He was like, in the movie, he was on the bill. I don't even think he was on the billboard. He was never presented in none of the advertisements, and then he's in the movie. And he was like, I guess who marketed it told him to do that like that. But I found that out about Ebony then, and I had to sit back and think about it. And I'm like, well, damn. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and as long as I remember Ebony, I've never remembered a white person posing on it. So at the end of the day, that was an Israelite woman sitting up there basically saying she was sleeping to advance herself. And, the advancement in a career is monetarily, not only a position and prestige and seniority and power, you get monetary power as well. So that's basically a prostitute. I got one more scripture. Salaki. I don't have one article. I got two more articles and a few scriptures there. But it's a reason why our women are whores, you know what I mean? Like, it tells you in scripture our women are going to be whores if we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. This woman, Kamala Harris, after she accused of sleeping her way to the top. Now, this is a true life story. That was a true life story, but they didn't put a name on it. They're talking about, remember, I think she's trying to run for presidency. I think she married to an Edomite too. Since Kamala Harris announced her candidacy for president of the United States this past Martin Luther King Jr. Day, people have been doing their research trying to determine if she will be the candidate for them. They found some questionable, disturbing instances in her tenure as a prosecutor. And now, what the fuck? And now, a man from her past has materialized. Somebody probably paid him to attempt to throw salt on her reputation. But is it really salt if it's true? Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, 84, came out of the woodworks to write a letter for the San Francisco Chronicle addressing the fact that he dated Harris 22 years ago. So if he 84, he was like fucking, in a brief article titled, "Sure, I dated Kamala Harris, so what? I've been peppered with calls from national media about my relationship. Yes, we dated. It was more than 20 years ago. Yes, I may have influenced her career by appointing her to 2 state commissions when I was an assembly speaker." Well, shit, he ain't denying that. He said, yes, I may have influenced her career. You know what I'm saying? Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, see, only people that want this punk-ass society to keep going is, of course, the Edomite male, some of the Edomite women, but, you see the curses hitting them because, you got the Edomite woman, like, look at Nancy Pelosi going in on Donald Trump, DJ Trump. Like, years ago, they would have never did no shit like that. That's typically what happens to, Israelite man. Our women, we ain't got our women under control and subjection, you know what I'm saying? Now, them curses starting to hit them, you know what I mean? I like Trump to a certain extent, though, because he, like I said, with all this femininity and, this all sensitive shit and everything, at the end of the day, he'd do some shit to make you be like, like what he did with the, what they call it, the 4 congresswomen, call them the 4 horsewomen. He don't care that he said this shit. So, last one article is this one about the scandal thing. And I know somebody used to watch it. I guess this show is years old. It ain't popping up. There you go. Years old, but I never watched it. But somebody did tell me that, like, I guess she was a whore as well. It says scandals carry, and when you take time to think about it, I forgot what she played in, and then she got that little role, and now you seeing her in all these commercials and shit like that. That's just like when fucking Halle Berry, and people don't take the time to consider that. I got this dumbass dude talking about, that's acting. Like, you dumbass nigga. You will have two actors playing a movie, and next thing you know, they dating. So they were fucking probably, you know what I mean, but whatever. Scandals, Kerry Washington. Olivia Pope should be nobody's role model. Oh, this is her own words? That's surprising. This is dated August 4th, 2015. Or this might be the writer's own words. Because at the end of the day, I know, like I said, the woman that hit me on to the show, I never watched it, but I know she was an Israelite woman, you know what I mean? And this woman is in a position of power. You got to remember, everybody, even grown people, emulate what they see on TV, you know what I mean? You got motherfuckers that have no style of their own and see somebody on TV. That's how fashion actually is promoted and pushed. You got these homosexuals in the fashion industry coming up with what they think is cool, and then you got motherfuckers running around with tight ass skinny jeans. These motherfuckers are retarded. Call me crazy though. It says, if you bump into scandal star Kerry Washington at, say, Starbucks, don't tell her that you want to be just like Olivia Pope, because she will not understand where you are coming from. I've always thought it was misguided when people tell me that Olivia is their role. Oh, so this is, see, now that's a newfound respect. Sometimes you do gotta check into something, because I'm thinking that this, but she like, no, she don't like the character. The actress shared Tuesday at the Television Critics Association press tour in Beverly Hills. The reason why, because she's having an affair with a married man who is president of the United States and a murderer. So enough said. At the end of the day, they pushing this black woman along with this white man. That's the spirit. You know what I'm saying? I came out with, you know, freest people in this country is the so-called Israelite woman or the nigger woman and this Edomite man. I never watched the show. So she was fucking the president, huh? Wow. So, but she's saying she don't. So if you really stood by that and really believe that, why would you play the role? I mean, as much as David Chappelle sold out, I mean, you might as well just stuck with it back then, because why would you leave something and then come back to the industry? You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably made him do way more when he got back in the industry after that, because you think they're going to let you just slap him in the face and say, fuck you, and then come back and without, that's, if you actually follow what he had to go through, you know what I mean? Like, and then he ended up getting a bigger deal through Netflix. Like, so, you don't know how many rituals or how many hoops he had to jump through to get that shit. But my thing is this. How much is too much money? You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, how much is enough money? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, nobody's content with just having enough for you and to provide. Everybody want to have, like, yeah, I don't get it, you know what I mean? But to each his own, you know what I'm saying? You're going to figure out the real riches ain't this piece of green paper that they about to eliminate and put a chip in your dumb ass. So, Salaki, so basically, I wanted to bring that article out because at the end of the day, a show like that will influence a lot of women. That's why you got so many women fucking up there idolizing shit like Love and Hip Hop. You know what I mean? And you got to really question where a person is at financially, because you think if they was doing so well, like, don't get me wrong, some people are more business men and women, and so they use that as a vehicle to promote themselves. You know what I mean? You know, their products. You know, they got all kind of different kind of you know, things they do outside of, you know, what you see them on TV. Like David Banner. David Banner's a hell of a businessman. Like Lil Boosie. Lil Boosie's a hell of a businessman. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the brother. No, that ain't the brother. Salakia. So I got a few scriptures and then I'm about to end this. Bear with me for a second.